5-6 days is really no rain. So the wind is irrelevant.
I seen your forecast for down there, like, it was pretty windy as well.
Yeah, we're alright.
Yeah, that's a shame. You've been in the house today then, chilling out?
Pretty much, yeah. So I played No Man's Sky this morning, but the thing is, it's an ideal day to play it when I'm not working.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing more annoying than coming home and like playing it for two. You know what I mean? If I have a break and like turn it on, I'm fucked.
Yes.
Or any game really.
Especially No Man's Sky. Once you're in there, it's hard to get it, like.
It's one of them, you know, you can just do the next task sort of games. But maybe I should consciously try and go back to The Last of Us in the morning, because that's just one match.
I thought you would have been sick of that. You've been playing it for years and still enjoying it.
Well, I've always had breaks of it, but I've had for ages now. But it's the gameplay. It's just such a fucking satisfying yet quick, and you know you don't have to. Maybe partly because you don't have much leveling up and stuff. Like I don't feel like I'm out of touch or anything. I've just got to pick it up and get my muscle memory back. But it's just really to be honest, it was really to just wake my brain up, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It was just like doing mental arithmetic in the morning, like just alert me. Maybe if I just go back to that, then it's just a 15-minute game, so when it finishes, I'm not going to start another one.
Yeah.
But that was working better for me than I ever realised. Because even when even like the forest and stuff like last month, and that would. No Man's Sky though, it's one of because there's like time-based things, you know. Where I'm building that settlement operates one of them threads where it's like you get a mission to construct the next. It just says like view construction opportunity, and you get to pick out of 2. And then the first stage, you've got to put like whatever material in it. Then you got to come back 2 hours later to the next stage. So it's like.
Wonder why.
I've done alright with No Man's Sky, to be honest. But it's like when I get home, if I come home for like a piss and a bag or a break or like a quick break, something to eat. It's just easy to go. I'll turn on No Man's Sky, do that next little, set the next sequence going.
Yeah. Yeah, what did you say about getting online again? Was it what was the fix?
Well, other people seem to have the same problem. It's not that it's not that I definitely know how to fix it, but other people have had that same problem where it's just blacked out over the names, and then when they click OK, the invite buttons and that. There and yeah, but it seems like some people you can do it. You can invite people through the anomaly. It's another way of starting missions with people, something like that. Starting games with people. Therefore, if you sort of hack it by doing it, if you force it manually, the anomaly, maybe it works. Maybe that's what it's hard to tell. Have a look at it yourself, or have a quick look through yourself. When
you got look. Shut my pants there, man. There you get this way. I don't know why you suddenly doing it, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's just annoying how it was working fine 1 minute.
It seemed to be a game that was always working that way.
Yeah, I feel like we've just got something. I don't know, maybe one of the settings has just changed or something daft has happened. Someone even asked like, if one person's that much further in the storyline, does it matter?
Yeah, is he compatible?
Yeah. It's not that. It's not that at all.
I'll try again. I'm getting my ass kicked here, like. Too much going on.
Yeah, I wasn't so enthusiastic about playing it. If I couldn't have you in it to at least share what I've built, because that was I was kind of thinking, yeah, you can get involved, and there's certain materials that'll be handy that you can contribute with. Literally a couple.
Yeah.
They're going to start tasks and stuff. And they're right by the base anyway, it's just a case of farming.
Need a stem.
Totally chaos there, right? Couldn't fucking do anything.
You bumming?
Bumming.
I've seen pictures. I have one you sent me when I said, "Is it Simon Pegg?" I've seen loads of them things.
Sevy's Peaky Blinders hat as well.
Type stuff, yeah.
Yeah,
it's always some distinguished gentleman type.
Tom Hardy is always like a total hard man quote.
Well, what you shared, it wasn't the link, but like that exact format is usually in the context of like an audio book, or like an actual book. They're selling an actual product. It's not necessarily just quotes. It's like there's actual sort of courses, as it were, about that sort of thing. Which I don't think they're all invalid, because I don't know anything about them.
It's fucking cheesy as fuck, though.
Yeah, there's much. But if you're after, if you dive into that sort of content, frankly, well, there's just much better people to, much better. I cringe at those things.
I find it well fucking cringe.
Yeah, no, there's a lot more healthy, digestible people in that, in that market than those things.
How do memes and that get so bad quality? Again, like a lot of old people will share pictures that are really bad quality. Is it like they're being saved over and over again? Is that how they get degraded?
Well, some people just make them really shitty. It's just literally, I've made stuff like that. Like, I make loads of logos and things like that for different things sometimes. I made one today, in fact.
Did they get compressed when you save them? Ruins the quality?
It's probably just something like that over and over again. Eventually, it's or they just don't. They never bother getting a particularly good one in the first. Or they screenshotted it and then enlarged it rather than finding a source material. That sort of thing. Yeah, various stuff.
That's not.
I'm literally right now. I've got loads of flat Earth memes all over my wall because I'm decking out my apartment for the next film shooting day that I'm doing for the pilot. A shelf of interesting items would be a really good asset, to be honest. If I lived near you, I'd be like, can I just borrow it all for a couple of days?
Borrow the shelf.
Just to pack it out, to make it, because it is interesting.
I was actually trying to put up a shelf today, but the wall was too soft. Fucking hell, man.
What sort of wall was it?
Just a concrete wall, but it's really soft. I don't know if because it always hits the sun, it always hits it.
Maybe it's just old enough and
old house Laura said to get longer screws. It was actually a shelf. It was actually a shelf I was putting up. Just too soft.
Longer screws and wall plugs,
Yeah. I'll try it again. There's a total mess I made as well.
I assume you did use wall plugs, or tried to.
No, I didn't use wall plugs. Just screwing right into it.
No, you use wall plugs. That's what they're for.
They're too boring. Wall plugs are boring.
No, you got to use them. They're essential.
Which do you think's more exciting? Lions or wall plugs? What would you rather look at?
Well, lions, but that doesn't mean that. What would you rather use to help put a screw into a soft concrete wall? Wall plugs or lions?
I don't know. I don't even know how wall plugs work. You just put them in and then put the screw on.
Yeah, you drill a hole slightly bigger than the screw, but smaller than the wall plug. Because the idea is it sort of packs it out, and it buggers when you push the screw. When you screw the screw in itself, it's splitting the fuck out of the thing inside. I've seen it on an X-ray video.
Yeah.
A glass-sided video, but it properly clamps it in there. And it moulds to the sort of shape of because obviously the metal's just going to be the metal. Concrete's just the concrete, so it needs to have a little, almost like a binding, packing out sort of mechanism. That's what it is, just to give it a safe fixing, because it'll fall down as well. You use do it too small, and then if it's too small, then you can just do a slightly larger one. Do it that way around. Don't try and get it right first time. Quite a handful.
Company. I will definitely use wall contact. Kia don't actually send you the SKUs. That's kind of weird, that.
Okay, ridiculous.
Ridiculous, yeah.
I didn't realise there was hardly any actual stores in the country. I thought it was like a big chain, you know, there's loads. But no. 'Cause there was a big fucking hoo-ha about maybe having one built in Lancing, which is 10 miles from Brighton. In like a, you know, like it'd be like off the not off the motorway, but off the dual carriageway because of the amount of traffic and so it's like a proper centre, isn't it?
We've
Apparently the nearest one's like East Grinstead, which is fucking miles away.
We've got two up here, like, one of them's actually quite new as well.
Hmm?
I've got one in Glasgow, one in Edinburgh.
Oh, so you've literally only got two? That's the whole country. Fucking hell. I mean, I imagine England's got 10, even by those standards, but it might only have sort of like 6 or 7, all I know.
Yeah. You'd have thought they would have had more, right?
Well, yeah, but I suppose because it's such a... It's that concept, because they've taken one step out of the equation, they can sell it cheaper.
This needs power.
It's a really smart business as like retail company, you know, and basically you're willing to travel for it, aren't you? It's like garden centres, they're pretty few and far between as well, aren't they? Like proper good ones.
We've got quite a lot up here, like, it's more rural, obviously.
Sure, yeah. But, I mean, we've got them, don't get me wrong, but it's not the case that you can just go to the local high street or like your local town. You might have to go a few towns over.
Yeah.
Or maybe even like I think 5 to 10 mile drive you could easily be doing, and that's if you're in Brighton. So this is a city, you know. You think there is one on the edge of Brighton, not up in Whitehall. There's one in Portland, I think, as well, but they're not massive. There's little ones, having said that. Like, I remember I used to go to one as a kid.
We've got one in Glen Office, two actually, two garden centres.
This one was just really weird. It was just around the house, around the corner from my mum's house. It's like, what the fuck are you just growing loads of sprouts and kept us? It was like it's an actual business, but it's in the weirdest place. Like right in a residential, you know, community. Through like a garage. I remember it now. It's just like you fucking bunch of sand. It's probably one of those things you start doing as you get older, isn't it? Like the most you did, certainly.
Yeah.
I think allotments are going to become obsolete eventually.
So?
I can't see in 30 years' time. I'm not going to want an allotment.
That's not your sort of hobby though, it's a hobby and a lifestyle, I'd say that.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's a hobby, isn't it? So if you know, less and less people are just going to have that hobby.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, especially the kids that are fucking stupid as fuck, they're no interest in anything. Apart from TikTok.
If I had a garden, I'd grow some veg and stuff, but I couldn't be fucked to leave my house and go elsewhere and be in a... And like shit, like, you know, you could spend fucking ages on it and then some kids are just going to wreck it. Yeah, you know, you wouldn't end up getting any of the fruits of your labour anyway, or veg of your labour. No, I reckon they're going to go out and I'm alright with it. Honestly, I'm fine with it. Society's got to move forward to certain degrees.
Allotments, like, they're... I mean, are they quite popular right now? I don't know.
Exactly, they're not particularly. So, therefore, it might even be like 10, 20 years. It might be longer, it might be 50. But eventually, they're all going to die out. Because you're going to get some developer cunt going, I'll build a whole community there. Because they're massive. You got 30, this place I'm picturing in Brighton, there's like 30, 40 allotments. And it's like all built up together, right on the edge of the city as well. So it'd be a great place to put like not tower blocks, you know, not necessarily apartment blocks either, because it's right on top of the hill. But you could put an actual community in there, probably a couple of hundred, you know, semi-detached houses, and someone's just going to come along to the council and go, right, look, 100 million for the land. which would be a bargain in the long run. But I think of these things because of my Skylines days. Churches, that's another personal hatred, personal pet peeve of mine. I see these massive churches, huge buildings,
Mega
taking up
churches.
loads of space.
Like the ones in the US? Or you mean like the ones we've got?
Anywhere, give a fuck about a church. Is my stance on it. If they did something, I'd have a different, but I just think turn them all into flats. To be honest, fuck them.
Did you get why there's
Maybe
so
not
many
all,
churches? Yeah, did you get why there's so many church buildings still
Why?
alive? Because Hitler was a Christian and he didn't want them to bomb the churches.
Oh, I've heard that now.
And if you go to Edinburgh, there's loads of beautiful, massive cathedrals, but all around them was bombed. So there's not as much older buildings for the churches.
I think it's sealed.
Other side. He was a nice guy, Hitler, right? Sound actually, he's actually really cool.
Yeah, I've heard he was a good, good family and loved his dogs. And...
Good painter.
He's in that video of him fucking tweaking.
He's totally going back. Yeah, I bet. I mean,
Yeah.
I meant that. Proper going for it. Like.
Oh, I did actually see something earlier that I thought you might like, but you might not. You might want. It depends how you feel about the content. But it was actually really good. It was about addiction. It was an actual. Do you know Dapper Laughs?
No.
Comedian. He's an okay. He started off. He's a pretty good comedian, but he kind of got low key cancelled quite early in his career because he had sexist jokes and stuff. It wasn't his thing as such. But he was an Essex boy, and I don't exactly know what he did, but for some reason he didn't like. People just stopped booking him and stuff, and that's where he got going really. And then so he turned to sketch comedy on Instagram. And he's doing really well with it, and he makes a lot. He's always made a lot of jokes about he has this little thing that called the Sesh Gremlin, and it's like a voice in his head that's sitting on a version of himself that's sitting on his shoulder, going, "It's Friday night. It's 5:30. How about you get some beers? How about you get some packet?" And he's just like, "Fuck off! I don't want any beers. I don't want any packet. Leave me alone." And that's that little gremlin that everyone gets in their head when they start, fighting the addiction. And,
Party time.
Yeah. But now he's got this podcast on YouTube called Menace to Sobriety. And I've heard it before, but I didn't realise this was the first episode done. It's only released 4 days ago. But he got it was actually one of the guys off Towie that was on it. It was a good mate of his from back in Essex. And fuck me, this bloke went through the works with his addiction. I was feeling really sorry for him. Because he had quite a bit of money as well, but he didn't earn for it. Even he said in the podcast, he's like, said to Dapper, he's like, where you've worked for your money, and you come to the point where you're good at something, you respect it more. When you're in Towie, when you're just a Towie wanker, you don't respect it because you just got it given to you.
Did you see that?
So it doesn't feel real. So you don't have the same, And he was saying it was once a week he would have like a 4-day bender, and it would be, and he wouldn't go to sleep either, 3 or 4 days. And he said in that time, I'd always pick up like 3 bags for 100. And in that time, I'd probably call him about 5 to 7 times. He's spending 500-700 quid. And he said as well, all he used to do is sit in his house playing Candy Crush. Loads of shit like that. But it was just that'd be an amazingly helpful to somebody who's still going through addiction. Yeah, more so. That's what it's for. They were talking about it quite a lot, and it's brilliant. It's really sad, but really good at the same time. Yeah, if you see this guy Dapper Laughs.
Sounds familiar. Sounds familiar. The name. Dapper.
Yeah, he's had a good brand and stuff, and he didn't get. He didn't do one thing that got him cancelled. So therefore, it wasn't as. Do you know what I mean? Like it was just people stopped booking him and didn't like him as much. But then he's still got an audience. Like all these people that want people cancelled in the first place. It's like you just want them cancelled for your tastes. There's people that like this. He's not a fucking cunt. He's not racist. He makes jokes about women, yeah, but like Catherine Ryan makes jokes about men all the time. That's her thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's literally the sexist female comedian. Like, but not she's not so. She doesn't go so far with it where it's like she's not a dickhead. You know, she's good.
Hateful.
Yeah. She's just like she's funny, and you can see how it's awkward for the blokes in the audience. But there are plenty of male comedians that do the exact same thing. Jim she did actually nick one of Jim Jeffries' jokes.
I watched Tom Segura special last night. That was really good. Out. Netflix.
I got Netflix.
Recommend that. Out. Like Jim Jeffries.
No, I cancelled Netflix temporarily.
Did you?
Just a couple of months ago. It's just.
I don't think I've ever
I
actually
happily
paid for
make
it.
do with.
I don't think I've ever paid for it. I thought use somebody else's password.
Oh, really?
Don't pay for anything.
Yeah, no, I just. I thought, fuck it, I can live on BBC iPlays. I've got Pete's Amazon on my computer, PlayStation.
On this stuff to watch.
Yeah, so I've got loads of stuff to watch. And I've got YouTube. Anyway, so I just thought, even though Netflix is better than well, I watch a lot of reruns on it anyway. You know, I watch a lot of Jim Jeffries' old stuff. Afterlife. So it's not stuff I'm not particularly missing up. And when you don't have it for a couple of months, but I think when you go back, there's loads of new stuff.
Yeah. There's plenty of content on YouTube, anyway, like comedies and that, full sessions and stuff.
Yeah.
The Bill Hicks stuff's on YouTube, specials.
I tried watching it, and Richard Pryor as well. I tried watching it.
That was good on it.
It was obviously really good for the time, but I just couldn't get into it.
Old Dave Chappelle was really good. It was, obviously, his new stuff's a bit weak, but the old stuff's brilliant in the 90s, like 2000s comedy.
I think I've watched some going back to something like 2008.
Yeah.
And then, I watched like 4 of his specials that are on Netflix, but his older stuff, no, I just haven't particularly got access to it.
I've been this way.
I don't like quite a lot of comedians, to be honest. I've seen Catherine Ryan, and she just puts on she puts on a very different
No guards.
character, which is obviously what you should do, really. She's not like everyone else. That's just her gimmick, is just being quite anti-men. But she's not. She's just like, she says things like, this is the one she stole from Jim Jeffries. So I don't have a problem, man. I just don't want one in my house. I don't like living with them, you know, shit like that.
Yeah.
It's like, I like to be able to send them home, sort of thing. And it's just like, that's your thing. It's fun. She's my example.
I watched a documentary about Abercrombie and Fitch, you know, the brand, and they were taken to court because they wouldn't hire black people or like brown people, or any like Chinese people, just only white people, and they went to court and tried to defend themselves, saying it's their right to only hire white people. And this was like 10 years ago, maybe. Insane.
What was that, sorry? I missed the part. I just glanced at my phone.
Oh, it's Abercrombie and Fitch, the clothing brand. It's for like sort of jock people, and America mostly use it. Shit, can't kick. But they were taken to court because they wouldn't hire black people, and they were trying to say they were trying to say it was their right not to hire people of race, like they can do it because it's their brand, and it's like, well, not really. You meant it, like. But the CEO got, yes! The CEO got ousted and that. And
Scanning again?
Yeah, it's
too late.
Even if you
for them.
felt like that, you just like this.
Yeah,
you're in head office,
blatantly.
like, John. Honestly, I'm telling you, this ain't a good idea.
Yeah, they were like, well, it's part of our image. It's our image. It's classic white American WASP, it's called, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants.
Yeah. It's just like
Like,
you'll have a lot more
yeah,
about us. Like, you'll have a lot more than that regarding your image to worry about if you go through with this.
yeah, I mean, that's fine, you can do what you want, but that's not how it works.
No, obviously I'd never come out with saying
Yeah.
they're too much trouble. Honestly, I'm not even joking. I'm not saying it because they're non-binary.
Laugh at all these Chewbacca's in this game. Probably the one Chewbacca in a
Who's
game.
ready to fight some imps?
And frankly, it kind of extends to trans people. Yeah, I'd have to take them on individual merit, but fuck me, I've only heard people having trouble with.
It just depends who you are. You can't do anybody though. You get dickheads anywhere.
Yeah, and the sad
Especially
thing is
white
when
people. Especially white people.
It's locked.
It was locked.
it's the non-binary people, they just like I've seen.
We need to
We
rendezvous
we
with
we
Saul.
got loads of them around here. Do you know how often I read stories in the papers about like all the staff in this? There's this vegan fucking sushi place around the corner from me. Like, all the staff ended up going on strike and demanding the manager was sacked because they got a certain opinion. And it's just like I just don't want that around. Like I just don't. I wouldn't. Like, literally, as an employer, I wouldn't want the risk. Like they don't let go. They're like the ones I'm thinking of, like the ones that they got that professor fired. It's not like I'm not saying this. It's not even the people. It's the activists. They're proper bitter and twisted. Not the ones that I know specifically. Or know of, really. They demanded that university professor got fired. Like she just had an opinion, and you know it's a university, it's a place of education, and to go to that university, what you've got to do is you get off the train station and you've got to go under an overpass, and it's a tunnel, and they just coated the whole thing with like posters they got made overnight, saying stock out, and they were literally there with fucking placards and masks over there because they're really brave. The masks over their face so that no one could see who was brave, and you know all this shit, and just made it hell for her, and just fucking she panicked and just did a U-turn and she went back. But like,
That's why I hate Russell Brand for what he done to that guy at the bank. Like, he's fucking gets on my nerves. That.
yeah, shit like that, man. It's just you can't go and kick and scream like. They're the Nazis in a lot of ways, and that's what they claim to oppose, isn't it?
My friend actually, he isn't his friend, but he knows Russell Brand. And he says you can't speak because he'll just speak over you. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. He's constantly speaking. So it's just like
I can imagine.
that's not how you fucking.
That's not opening.
Oh, he says what? That's not how you solve problems. You need to listen to every fucking side. So it works.
Yeah, I never really liked him as a comedian. Then I sort of warmed to him because I thought he's not a bad guy. And the way he is these days, he's a proper Bill Gates is trying to kill everyone. Sort of
Yeah, he's past the line of virgin conspiracy theorists.
yeah, he's proper deep now, isn't he? And he's not hypothesizing. He's not like critically thinking. And he's one of them that's just like, I think I've seen a thumbnail to the effect of like him looking at you and pointing at the screen, going, "Are you able to think critically? This video is for you." Like, you know, really playing on people's fucking arrogance and ego. He's just grifting off it. That's his living now.
hate sales like this. Why is this still here?
But that's it. They do it in the name of the right opinions, don't they?
Nice job.
That's what annoys me about them. Their opinions are the right opinions. You can't have other opinions. And like, if you don't fit into not like 100% of their exact opinion set, you're
We need to charge this.
the worst of the worst. Obviously, I'm talking about. I honestly just wouldn't want to hire someone that was non-binary. But that's sad. For trans people, it's actually sad because they don't. They do struggle to get employed, apparently. And it's not because like employers are harsh against it, even despite what I've just said. Because some companies are like really supportive. Like Starbucks make a thing out of it, and they're welcoming, and TJ Fridays, but a lot of them, what I find is work in charity shops. They get benefits for their mental health. And there's one down the road. She's 6'6".
Giant.
So she's happy though. She's an older, older generation. She seems pretty content. I pretty much, when I think back on it, didn't quite realise what was going on at the time, but down the chicken shop there was this guy that wanted to work there from the club. He was only 30, 31, but he'd really pissed off like quite a few of the other barbacks he worked with who were like 19, 20, 21. And so it was a bit of a weirdo anyway, so it was kind of an easy decision ultimately. But kind of what happened was like, someone said to me just like, oh, don't hire him, he's pissed off so many people, like you just won't want that, and people won't come, etc. Made quite a big deal out of it. I was like, why's that? I was like, oh, just ask him, so and so, and I did. It was like, yeah.
What am I doing here?
I downloaded Fallen Order earlier.
Yeah, that's good, like, it's quite hard. I mean, it'd be easy for you in the shitty games, like.
It looked like, it was a good challenge.
Elden Ring, well, Tomb Raider and Zelda. It's EA,